Welcome to vlog 5. In this vlog I will look at agility and I will critically analyse the exercise of the sidestep. I will show myself performing this exercise and the limitations that were present in my movement and the interventions that I put in place to rectify these limitations in my movement. A sidestep is an action whereby an athlete quickly changes their movement in an opposite direction from the position which they were travelling. You can see myself performing this activity in a basketball crossover move. I also perform this move from a side on and a front view. Shown below is a flow diagram of the key components of agility. If we were to quantify agility, we could look at it as a change of direction based on rapid processing of internal and external information quickly and accurately without any significant loss in speed. Even though there are many components of this diagram, I'm going to focus more on the technical aspects and identify the feet placement, adjustments, of steps to accelerate, and the body lean and posture. Within this, when I'm performing my interventions, I'm going to look at working on acceleration, deceleration, looking at working on the open step, and finally on a side step to develop my agility. So in the following clips, I'm going to look at how I move off either foot and see if there are any similarities or any limitations occurring. I can see if I slow down the video as I turn to my left, I'm pushing off the wrong foot. Even though the angle is appropriate to change direction, I've chosen the wrong movement strategy to efficiently move between the blue cone and the red cone. I can see now as I change direction off my left foot going to the right, I can see that I've chosen a far more appropriate movement strategy as I push off the inside foot to change direction going from the red cone to the blue cone. You can also see that my torso is a far more efficient lean and my foot is angling towards the direction at which I want to move it. What I'm going to show now is a side-by-side analysis of both movement patterns chosen when performing the movements stepping to the left and stepping to the right. You can see on the video to the left that I've chosen a far more efficient movement strategy and my angle that I've changed is far more appropriate for evading a defender. On the video to the right on the screen, you can see that the choice is not as efficient and therefore my angle would not be appropriate when evading a defender. When performing the sidestep, it's vital that the athlete positions their feet and their hips in the direction which they desire to move it. From here I went and looked at my ability to react to a stimulus, both from a verbal and a visual cue. I focused far too much on the actual mechanics of changing direction and less on the stimulus and was unable to react appropriately to the correct call. I was far more efficient, however, on the opposite foot when I was changing and turning to my right hand side. Once I'd identified the limitations, I chose a logic progression, beginning by learning the appropriate movement skill in closed drills at a slow speed. This was then progressed to execution at a faster speed. Once I was able to perform the movement skills consistently at speed with very good technique, I introduced reactive drills, reacting to a stimulus, and open drills. The collection of videos here show me firstly decelerating, and in this clip here show me changing direction and focusing on planting and pushing off the correct foot, which was my issue in the original videos as I was moving off the incorrect foot. You can see here I'm far more efficient at speed at moving between the cones. The thing with a closed drill, I focused on that initial step by changing direction. I also brought in a side step just like the crossover and eventually brought in a more sport specific by entering some basketball movements, still focusing on that change direction with the feet. Over the coming weeks, I followed this sequential progression to improve my capacity throughout these exercises. I used a cue from another coach to stop at a call, so improve my ability to accelerate. I reduced the distance between the cones in the change of direction to improve my ability and make it a bit more specific. When it comes to prescribing interventions for developing a sidestep, it is important to have an understanding of the muscle activation present. From a 2008 study by Hansen and colleague, their EMG data assessed the level of muscle activation in a sidestep. The study showed greater glute medius activation throughout the prep stage of the movement in females, as well as a larger co-activation in hamstrings and quads. Some final exercises which I used were the sidestep again. I also looked at this movement at speed. And finally I introduced a defender to react moving left and right to improve my ability to react to a stimulus in a game specific situation.